If 2026 is your first attempt for UPSC, your probability of clearing the exam is just 7%. This year, as results came for the mains in November, 40% of our students from UAP and SMASH who wrote mains cleared mains. That's a very high order number. And that is possible only because this is the rigor which we put our students in. And that points to a very, very important fact that if you're watching this video in November and you're attempting either in 2026 or your first attempt is going to be in 2027, do not take your padhai likhai lightly.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily.
Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
If 2026 is your first attempt for UPSC, your probability of clearing the exam is just 7%. And you might not believe me, but this is not my opinion. The sad and concerning reality is taken from the latest UPSC report, which I found on their website, which maps the attempts versus rank clearing ratio in an XY axis. So out of the 100 people who write the exam, who write the prelim stage, 50 are first year, are beginners or freshers, if we can say. But out of the 100 people who eventually finally make it to the list, only 7% are the freshers. And this fact is a very, very jarring and compelling fact when you place it along with these two numbers. So if this is your third and fourth attempt, your chances of clearing the exam are very high. It's 23% almost. If this is your first attempt, it's just 7%. If it's your second attempt, it's 14% close to. And this is the number we've picked up from a UPSC report which maps these things, like I said. And that number is from the year of 2021. Okay? Last year, when you had these rankers making it to the final list, and if you now know their attempt cycles, so Shakti Dubey was a veteran, Margi Shah was a veteran, Archit Dongre was already in service, he was IPS, Abhishek Vashisht, IPS, Hemant, rank 13, was also a veteran. He had cleared all the exams which government could do or could give you to write. And as per our last calculation, almost 40% of the people in the top 100 ranks, the ranks which are the most coveted ones, they were either in service, either directly in the central service and UPSC services, IPS, IRS and whatnot, or they were in state services. So the chances that these numbers of 7% probably even went down. And that points to a very, very important fact that if you're watching this video in November and you're attempting either in 2026 or your first attempt is going to be in 2027, do not take your padhai likhai lightly. Do not start slowly, get in the flow as 6 months pass by and hope that after prelims the real mains preparation will start, because all the plot would be lost and it will be very difficult to cover the grounds then. And we know this fact for years now, and that is why Animesh, who was our student who cleared his UPSC in his very first attempt with the job and with an ailing mother, I got rank 2. GVS Pavan Datta, an MBBS doctor from Tirupati, cleared his UPSC first attempt, rank 22, like I said. We put them in the system as soon as they joined the UAP program. And this year, as results came for the mains in November, 40% of our students from UAP and SMASH who wrote mains cleared mains. That's a very high order number. And that is possible only because this is the rigor which we put our students in. So today's video is about few things. One, the UPSC statistics that puts beginners at a disadvantage, right? So statistics is a fact. This is what we have seen, the behavior what we've seen, that as people take more attempts, they become more and more mature with respect to their preparation, their answer writing. They take structures, presentations, all those things more seriously than what a fresher would. But there is no reason why a fresher should not do that in his or her very first attempt. And out of the people from UAP and SMASH who cleared mains this time and their interview is pending, this video, I'll be showing their journeys to you, their real, actual, documented, logged journeys which our mentors maintain. I'll be showing you their answer copies journey, even much before they're getting final ranks, because that is also dependent on interviews. Their earlier journey from Samachar Manthan's weekly test to the final journey where they were writing full FLTs. Then I'll compare that with rankers' mature answer copies. And then I'll take you through the fundamental pitfall of all beginners who start preparing from UPSC syllabus alone. Okay? And we'll do a little bit of academic exercise, but broadly speaking, the aim of today's video is that if you're a first attempt guy, there's slight disadvantage, not slight, there's a massive disadvantage that you're starting from on the ground zero. Okay? Your probability of making it to final ranks is somewhere close to 7% or less. And we have to do everything in our possible limits to overcome that possibility or that probability and get through in our very first attempt. We've done that with a lot of rankers before. I want to let you in on the secret on how it is done. It's obviously hard work. It's challenging hours. It's all this dedication put on week calls, but it's doable. Otherwise, you'll end up doing this in either your second, third, or fourth attempt. So this is non-negotiable. Now it's up to you when you want to try starting with this. Okay. Somya Rawat joined us in the month of March. Okay. So we are in November. She joined us in March. Right? And she was a good student right from the get-go. Okay. So much so that we have a field of potentiality of every aspirant, and we had given her the tag of ranker. She was part of this UAP mentorship program and mentored by Gajanan Sir. The total intervention calls we had with her were 74 from the time when she joined till the time when she finally wrote her mains. So give or take, एक साल में कितने हफ्ते होते हैं? 54, 52 I think. So like starting में ज़्यादा calls, and then eventually the calls were spaced according to how she wanted them to be, how she got matured. But there are 3 or 4 phases in which we pace your preparation, or you should pace your preparation. The first phase is what we call Bunyad phase, or the fundamental phase, where you start with your annotated NCERTs. Okay, and you start attempting NCERT test. Scores are discussed, doubts are discussed, right? So this keeps going on week over week. And it should not take you more than 2 months to complete all the standard NCERTs of the big 4 subjects and all the basic reference books, which everyone else does. Okay, so you have some basic idea of how the padhai likhai of UPSC is structured. Basic, not exam ready, just basic. When you do that, again, then you start graduating to heavy tests, right? So you attempt economy core test. Again, everything gets discussed. All calls or Zoom sessions are logged, targets are assigned, and these are the milestones, which you have to do week over week. So whichever accountability system you're working with for your 2027 attempt, because 26 guys, I hope you guys are focusing on mains readiness right now. So 27 folks who are right now thinking of starting their journey, whichever accountability system you go, make sure it is this dense and it holds you accountable to this degree. What happens when you prepare with this intensity is that Somya, when she had joined and when she wrote her first Samachar Manthan test, which is part of the current affairs test, weekly test, she wrote somewhere in August. Okay, it's a week 4 July Samachar Manthan test. She wrote in August. Her fundamental was already in place. If there are very, very few aspirants who are able to neatly recall things in such go. Okay, so a question on green revolution, and she understands all the objective of it. What right now is the issue is that she rambles a lot on the background. These are not written in points. These are more like how you write your answers in college in prose format, which is what UPSC doesn't want. And so when we worked with her week over week, so kya hua na? Closer to the exam, her answers became much more refined and much more in the framework and structure of how mains answers are supposed to be written. So even if you're beginners and you would have seen some videos of Shubham Sir, Arvind Sir, or mine, you would know that mains answer writing, for every 10 marker or 15 marker question, you have to write your answers in 150 words or 250 words. Every question has a theme and demand. कुछ डिमांड्स implicit होती हैं, मोस्टली क्या होता है, पहला इसमें तो एक ही लाइन का क्वेश्चन है, कुछ डिमांड्स यूपीएससी के सवाल ऐसे होते हैं कि उसमें पहला एक स्टेटमेंट होती है which has an implicit demand, and then the second statement would be an actual question which would be an explicit demand, right? So as you get more mature, you will be able to figure out क्या implicit है क्या explicit है. As you get even more mature, you will be able to go beyond the demand and you will be able to use the right keywords from the question in your answer or keywords which are relevant to that theme in your answer. But agar beginner bhi ho to bhi you would know that for you to attempt a good question from mains, theme, demand, then intro, body, conclusion. Your body will have to have a DAE approach, dimensions, argument, examples. Intro has to be either a code-based introduction or a number or a stats-based introduction, and which is what Somya finally nailed, right? So her final FLT copies में she started nailing these things. और ये तभी हो पाया because she started from this head start, right? So she joined us slightly late, but she had her fundamentals in the right place. So basic NCERTs करके आ रखी थी, and that is why you see that it did not take her much time to cover the NCERTs. She started on the reference books pretty early, okay? And this is the rigor which even other rankers have displayed in past, right? So Ishita Kishore, Shubham Kumar, Shruti Sharma, inke intros, and these copies are out in public, you will find those intros being richer, more contextualized, more code-based, more interspersed, kahin ke kahin linkages are. In fact, Shruti Sharma's intro invoked Premchand and one of his novels when she was asked to write about AgriStack, right? So they start getting those X factors right on their introduction. This is the reason why most candidates who end up making in the final result are second or third attempt or fourth attempt, right? This is the gap and this is the challenge which you as the fresher of UPSC preparation has to face and has to conquer. And this is the challenge which cannot be conquered by any hacks. Okay? You have to go through a grind. The best thing that you can offer to yourself is go through the grind with a system in place. Okay? Kya hota hai? When we don't have a system and we're all going by our inclinations and what do we feel like doing today, which subject or which theme is giving us the high to feel that we're in the game, you will consolidate few of your micro themes, okay? But you will not know what priority should you be doing your syllabus in, क्या मिस कर रहे हो, उसका क्या disadvantage हो सकता है, और वो gaps तुम दोबारा कब fulfill करोगे. So if you're going on your own with no accountability system, with no weekly checks, then either you have to be a very stellar disciplined student all your life, which will carry the momentum in this exam, or you will get lost. So either you will get lucky because of your background and your previous academic excellence, vagera, or you will fail in 10th. And then you will do the same thing in your second or third attempt, and you will clear the exam if you're sincere. But it will take you more attempts, which is not really necessary. Let's try to understand what happens when you start your preparation in a piecemeal, milestone-wise format, right? So if you're attempting 2027, and this is the month of November, 15 November, or half of the month is already gone. And if you join us, or if you start making an accountability system the way we have in UAP, then abhi se leke February ka time hoga when you are going to consolidate your big 4 subjects, both from NCERT and from core books. This is the time when 2026 people are consolidating their mains, right? So our Smash PYQ classes and Smash mains classes are running, and it's on the application oriented mode. उसका knowledge gap mode खत्म हो चुका है, उसका application gap fill करने का mode चालू हो गया, right? Where we have live classes. You, if you're preparing for 2027, this is the time when you would be consolidating all these things, which means you would be writing the tests like I showed you in Somya's mentorship sheet. You would be writing the test, getting the marks, discussing with your mentor, plugging all the gaps and holes, and then moving to the next theme, right? February to April is when you start double downing on current affairs. So as you join, weekly current affairs is a must. We do not recommend you to go daily with news. Weekly news is must. At the end of the month, you have Burning Issue magazine, which comes from our side, and you go through that to make sure the hard-hitting topics of the month get covered in all detail, in both the dimensionality and all the core static part as well. Okay, this is where your first round of mains micro theme related note making starts, and I'll come to this later. But April है, बिल्कुल time नहीं है फालतू, ठीक है? अब depending upon if you want to write the next year's prelims, the 26 prelims, or if you will just see वो prelims कैसा आया था, that will get you a good reality check. Okay, so even if you're not attempting the prelims in 26, whatever your preparation has been here, this will give you a sense of your preparedness, at least with respect to core reference books in NCERT in the actual prelims, which your seniors would be writing the next year. Just after prelims, this is where your padhai goes into the second gear. Second gear and your second attempt is all about assessments. So UAP has this fundamental policy of fault finding course correction. We only believe in one thing, कि core reference books or annotated NCERT and the books which have been doing rounds for millennials now, decades now, वो तो आप कर लोगे. Exam is all about how you perform on questions which come from PYQ derived trends or which come from your mehnat on your answer writing skill. And so the only objective which our mentor and we have for you is fault finding course correction. We find your faults, we tell you yahan pe phas rahe ho, we course correct you as soon as we can, as fast as we can, and however many times we want to. We have to. Okay. So right after the prelims exams, your revision for annotated NCERTs, all the stuff that you've done abhi tak. Okay. This is micro themes, this is basic PYQs which you would have solved and you would have gotten there. Core books, annotated NCERT, iska second revision start hoga. This and your optional study will keep going on here. Okay. Now October to Jan is the time where we will do smash PYQs. So this is the same time which is now for the 26 kids, and then you will go with this journey next on your prelims. Prelims ke baad you will have smash mains full dedication, and then you will have the mains in 2027 August, and then you will have the interview prep. This is how tight your calendar is. So people who are appearing or thinking of appearing for 2027 and you're starting on a beginner foot, trust me, you don't have time to lose. Your first year is all about chasing depth. Your second year is all about chasing assessment, fault finding, and course correction. And as I take you through the journey of one of my students, Somya, this is where she started with. Okay. And as she graduated, as she became more mature, she started attempting in the seventh month, she started attempting mains full length test, right? So all the MEPs which are part of the UAP modules, they are discussed, doubts are discussed, post-test discussions happen, all the comments are mentioned here, so that, very similar to how your school report card should or might have looked like, your trail, your month on month, week on week improvement ka trail na pura mentioned hota hai yahan pe. So as you are growing up with us, you know कि क्या-क्या चीजें pain दे सकती है, and you can avoid them because of planning ahead, right? So Somya had, बीच में you had therapy calls, बीच में you had calls which are something happens in the family, some event happens in the family, something good, something bad, and weeks can go, or a week can go without study. And so we have to accommodate, we have to course correct. We've been doing this for years now. We've been doing this with Animesh, Pawan Datta, so many of our rankers, because this is what accountable preparation looks like. और इतना सब मेहनत करने के बाद ना, when she finally gave prelims somewhere here, May में, we calculated her score and we 100% realized that she's going to clear the prelims. And then we started on with her mains preparation. This is post prelim. This is where smash mains, smash essay, they came in the final gear. So her journey, ये journey दिखाने का एक ही reason था, her journey should give you like, a sense of कि weekly accountability system अगर नहीं है ना, तो वो already 7% का जो disadvantage से हम start कर रहे हैं, right? That probability which is just 7% for the beginner, that keeps going down. Because the veteran who's still sincere and who wants to crack this anyhow, he doesn't have to go through the basic books ka grind. They have to qualify for some other challenges. Their challenges are now more on presentation, more on frameworks. They do not have the beginner's luck now. They have a lot of baggage. They have to unlearn a lot of things. They have to accommodate new X factors. They have to accommodate new current affairs big points. बहुत सारे psychological issues होते हैं which creep in when you start getting into your third or fourth attempt. But they do that clearly. They sail through that clearly because they know what is to be avoided completely and what is to be mastered. So out of the close to, like I said, right, 40% smash students, smash and UP students who wrote mains, they cleared mains. 30% would be beginners. Rest would be veterans who came and joined us and who are repeat rankers, and they had just one goal कि अब मुझको एक आंसर में एक नंबर एक्स्ट्रा परफेक्ट करना है. So collectively I'll be writing what 79 to 80 GS questions. I should be getting approximately 50 marks more, right? In even the question and the themes that I'm good at. And all this starts with one crucial change in the first step. Most of you would start from the syllabus first. And UPSC का जो traditional syllabus होता है ना, it's very abstract. It's very difficult to read through those 2 pages of syllabus and figure out what is exactly the limit of the syllabus, what is the constraints, where should I limit myself, what are the dimension I should go inside. So there would be a line on, salient features of People of Representation of India Act, but that's it. No real demarcation on what is high priority, what is low priority. And so if you're just going by the UPSC syllabus, you will not have any kind of idea of the trends that UPSC, that exam is actually testing you on in pre and mains. So what we did at CD, and only we did that, and we did that like very, very meticulously. And we've been doing that for the last 2-3 years. But this year we came with booklets on both pre and mains, which is we divided the whole syllabus into 288 micro themes, pre and mains included. Okay, and micro themes are essentially those hot topics from which UPSC asks a lot of questions with varying degree of dimensionality. So hard, easy, medium, whatever, and spread over the years. Right, so you both get a sense of frequency and you get a sense of difficulty spread as you look through the PYQs, which are stacked in micro themes. That becomes your fundamental ground zero of preparation. It is derived from UPSC syllabus, but it's heavily indexed by PYQs. Okay, so this should be in everyone's table. Micro theme booklets are available for free in the market. It's available for download from the Civilsdaily website. It's available in the Xerox shop centers as well. But they have to be your solid ground zero. Because what happens is the magic which happens post you start reading through micro themes. So 288 micro themes, mains mein you have 177, prelims mein you have 111. There are 37 common micro themes, and by the way, these are those micro themes which have more than 3 questions in the last 10 years, right? So there are a lot of micro themes, but we are just prioritizing those ones which are, highly susceptible to come again to you, and which you should anyway prepare if you want the cross linkages wala part also done. 288 micro themes should be consolidated very, very nicely in depth across pre and mains. And then there are some micro themes which I have not mentioned here, which are pre only. Okay, so when we talk about a pre first video, we'll talk about that. But this is how the macro view of your entire subject looks like when you segregate it from micro theme lens. Okay, so you have now subjects divided across pre and mains micro thematic level. So these are thematic level, right? Polity will have 45 micro themes. Okay, some subjects like Indian society will have no micro themes for prelims relevance, right? Internal security, not relevant for prelims. Social justice, not relevant for prelims, right? These are the number of questions. Okay, so micro themes, and embedded in the micro themes, these are the number of questions. Now, with this as your central backbone, you look at the UPSC syllabus just to see if you're missing something or not. And when you look back at the syllabus, you look at the GS2, this is the actual UPSC syllabus, you see that some of the themes, some of the dimensions from which questions are being asked, some of the themes from which questions are being asked are not at all mentioned there. Some of the themes which are mentioned there, in fact, do not have a lot of expansion. आपको पता ही नहीं कि salient features of RPA में पूछेगा क्या क्या, right? So only when you look at the PYQs are you able to figure out the priority ladder which UPSC has. Now I'm going to take you through one such theme in a detailed loop, so that you understand what it means to prioritize the preparation. Constitution morality is a topic which has gained a lot of prominence in the last 2-3 years. But this is a topic which has been blipping in the UPSC radar since 2019. So we had a question in 2019, a 10-marker question from GS4, which was simple definition. What is meant by constitution morality? How does one uphold the same thing, the same constitution morality? The next question came in 2021, and that was almost similar, but now with a better directive. Explain the doctrine of constitutionality with the help of relevant judicial decisions, right? So now this directive, which is explain, discuss, criticize, or whatever, or examine, the directive was much better. And in 2025, we had two questions from this micro theme of constitution morality, one in GS2 paper and one in GS4. तो यहाँ पे ना ये टॉपिक ट्रिकी हो जाता है क्योंकि दिस टॉपिक इज नॉट गिवन इवन इन एन इम्प्लिसिट डिमांड or explicit demand in the UPSC charter, in the syllabus which has not been revised, I think, for a decade. Okay, so you need to understand PYQs and accordingly see ki, okay, if the issues come from constitutional morality, my notes which I'm preparing, which finally will be a one-pager note, वो किन dimension के cross होने चाहिए. What are the issues which UPSC can ask? And like we saw, right, one of the issue was judicial overreach. Then which is part of the institutional lens. Then there was political issues. There's this big debate about constitutional morality versus social majority or societal morality, okay, where constitutional morality wins. And there are a lot of scholars which you can quote to defend that, and a lot of case precedences which you can quote to defend that. But this topic has to be done in its own depth to be able to answer the kind of questions which are coming in UPSC now. और ये उसके 3 इशू के ब्रॉड लेंस है. तो व्हेन वी अंडरस्टैंड कि PYQ में ट्रेंड क्या चल रहा है, which micro theme is becoming a hot sector micro theme, then we go to the next step. We try to find out the dimensions, which were these. Once we understand the dimensions, then we make notes on that. Like we as institute, we make our X factor notes on those topics, and those notes are made in full spread, right? So there are X factor pointers, there are thinkers which are invoked, then there are way forwards, and accordingly, these are like the micro theme map, right? That this is where your answers will be point wise, will not waste much of space, you'll be able to pack up a lot of density in your answer writing, and eventually, finally, you will be completing one simple single loop with respect to your studies. So this constitutional morality का जो loop खोला था हमने, which is questions ranging from 2019 to 2025, यहाँ पे GS2 से भी आया, GS4 से भी आया, questions were from judicial overreach, basic definition questions. These were the dimensions which we saw. Then उन dimensions को जो हमने यहाँ देखा, उनकी difficulty assess करके we incorporated that in our X factor notes, which are taught to you in the classes, right? As you mature, these are taken in the classes. Once that X factor notes preparation from your side is done, you write mocks and FLTs, and they are discussed by a mentor. So a topic which found no direct verbiage and no direct mention in the UPSC syllabus is a very relevant UPSC topic, as we see via my PYQs. And as we pick it up as a micro theme and develop X factor notes, we prepare you for any question which comes in the exam, come what may, right? Once that is done, this is where most of the advanced ranker then spend their time. कि अगर ये आ सकता है तो और कौन से 6 साल पुराने 7 साल पुराने micro themes हैं which can come now repeat again because they suddenly have a relevance. When you start thinking like that, this is where you complete one micro loop. And ऐसे 288 micro loops हैं. तो 288 micro themes हैं, 288 micro loops हैं. Your 2 year of journey, if you're starting right now, and if you're a beginner, and if you want to increase your probability of getting through in the first attempt, will squarely hinge on the number of micro loops you've completed to the degree of accuracy that you've completed. Okay? So, a very basic and broad stroke timetable for you, and even a self-made timetable for you looks something like this. And I'm taking one micro loop. So you open up a micro loop, let's say today, download the micro theme PDF. Let's say you go to the river system, geography की prelims micro theme है, hypothetically, right? सबसे पहले accuracy check करो अपना. If you're accurate above 80% on those questions, that is done. Maybe it's a strong subject, or maybe you've done it really well, but you can now move past. You don't have to spend more time on it. You have to now go to the rest of the 288 minus 1 themes, right? If this accuracy number is lower, if this is, let's say, somewhere in 40% zone, now you need to know where are you stuck. So now you need to do a dimension analysis. Dimension analysis will tell you ki, am I messing up with questions on origins of river and the mouth of river, or am I messing up with questions which have interlinkages like a river flowing through a certain Ramasar site, or a river flowing through a certain other geographical feature, mountain pass and whatnot, or am I messing up on questions which have directional, ki tributaries ki directions kya hain, which is the last tributary to join this river, something which is much more intricate, or am I messing up on river questions which have geographical phenomena embedded in that? There were questions on a river which takes a U-turn somewhere near the Eurasian plate because of a certain geographical feature, right? A very conceptual, fundamental question. But when you study maps and you study geographical features together, you'll tend to understand that, okay, this is where I need to spend more time on so that I get high accuracy on this, right? So this is what you need to increase to 60% after this. एक बार ये हो गया, then you go back to flash notes or X factor notes. Flash notes for prelims, X factor notes for mains. Once you've done that, then you go back and you write some mocks and check back your PYQ accuracy. If this is coming back to 80%, you're solid. Then you move to the next thing. So your timetable, we'll have weekly calls with you, but your daily timetable should look something like this. On some days, you will be able to close more loops because some loops will be easier to you depending upon if you're an engineer, commerce student, art student, whatever. Some things will come easy to you, or some things will take more than 1 day, 2 day maximum, right? But you start on the micro loops and the micro theme analysis after you've completed your basics. So सबसे पहले basics, उसके बाद micro thematic understanding, आपके 1-pager notes, mocks, you're through, right? So this is how your padhai likhai has to be distributed, and this is the whole journey which we sketch out for you in our UAP program, right? So UAP batches which are starting for the December, for November people, each of you will be personally hand-holded by a mentor. Each of you will actually have, as elaborate a journey as Somya had with us. You have to stay right to the course. You have to stay with us. You have to be accountable almost on a weekly level, close all the loops that we open up for you. And there is no big deal that you might make it to the list in your very first attempt. It's possible if you have such a heavy accountability system for yourself, okay? This is the 2-year journey that you're going to chase with us. The first year is all about understanding the depth of subjects. The second year would be all about assessments. For students who are going to attempt in 2026, I very, very strongly invite you to come into the Smash Mains fold now. Mid-January end तक जम के Smash Mains के साथ मेहनत करो. Then break for your prelims preparation. As soon as your prelims ends, we'll come right back. The Smash Mains second phase will start with you. You will be among the people who get to clear mains in their very first attempt. We will be able to, go past this statistics and make sure you land on this or a higher side of this spectrum. Otherwise, what UPSC is now testing, which is exam maturity, structured understanding, more reflections, especially in essay and ethics paper, it is very, very hard to come by if you're not aware and not conscious and not very deliberate in your answer writing practice on a week-to-week level. Okay? This is where the stakes of the exams are high. So if this made sense to you, I would invite you to join our UAP program. Give us a call. Let's try to understand where you're stuck and how we can help you get back on track. We are also launching our recovery batches for UAP for students who just completed a foundation course from somewhere, or just were right now just reading books, basic stuff, and haven't done any answer writing practice as yet, and now want to focus and complete their whole curriculum demand with the micro loops. अगर वो करना है, then call us for the UAP thing. अगर वो सब हो रखा है, एक basic understanding हो रखी है, core books भी ढंग से पढ़ रखी हैं, all you want is practice, practice and more practice, we'll hit off the ground with Smash Mains. But for UAP 2027, for students who are writing in 2027, talk to us. This is the journey, especially if you're a beginner, each of you needs to take through. There is no way you can short circuit this journey. If you're a good student, you will just be able to pack a lot of punch in your first attempt and maybe crack top 100 ranks. Okay, but invariably, this is where you will lie. This is the journey that you and us, we have to make together. And we look forward to meeting with you in person. If you want to come and meet with us in our office in Delhi, happy to arrange an appointment. If you want to get to us and call, this is the number you need to dial, and we'll see you in soon. Take care.